I think that's going to be a 27 millimeter. Let's start with the 24, 24 millimeter. Did I say 27 millimeter? How in the world did I come up with 27 millimeter? 24, tilt shift. Oh, perfect. Dead center. Okay, focus. In this case, I'm only going one stop bracket each way. Because it's so flat. Now the only thing, the flag is moving. So you kind of have to, I'm going to back up just to get the top of the flag in there. So I don't need to do it in two spots. I can't, I do the bottom, I just get, well, let's do the bottom. This could be a good example of a background for compositing. So when I do a background for compositing, I generally shoot at just about this level here, and then I'd go down to street level. That would be a full length shot. Like if I had a fireman standing full length, I do it all the way down like this. All right, so what I want to do is quickly show you how I stitch my images together. Now I'm not going to do a full retouch. I'm going to take two different images. One is a stitching that I do from top to bottom, so vertical, and a stitching of a panorama, all with the tilt shift lenses. Now, the same process you can do when you use your nodal point. Keep in mind that when you use a nodal point instead of a tilt shift, if you don't get your nodal point correct, it might have some problems, especially if you're using a super wide angle lens. It may go, oh, I don't like this. That's in that case, if I've made a mistake, which I do, I usually hop over to PT GUI, which is another program that's a little more robust, and it solves some problems that I've had when I can't do it in Photoshop. So we're all going to do it in Photo Merge inside of Photoshop. So I'm hoping that if you're interested in this whole concept of stitching images, I've explained why I do this so many times now, but it gives me, like I said, a different perspective on a lens choice I don't have normally with one capture. It also gives me more megapixels. So that's why I do it. You may never want to do this, but so I'm going to take a look at, these are the two images. Let me hit tab here and hit one more, if it'll go a little bit bigger on me here. Okay, so that's looking up one of the skyscrapers. It's I can't even read it on here, one of the buildings in New York City. Just walking around. I did not film myself or have someone film me shooting this. I took an afternoon and kind of walked around, and my son had some business he had to do, so I had an afternoon by myself. But for most part, I filmed everything I did. So I want to include a lot of that footage. One of the shots, we were walking along, didn't plan on shooting a fire station. I would look over and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a perfect fire station. This image here, I ended up cleaning it up quite a bit. Took out some plaques on the side, cleaned up the street a little bit. There, on the right-hand side, there was a building, and you'll see it in a minute. It's really close, kind of a white building. I ended up using this other side of the building, flipped it over, took the windows out to kind of give it a little cleaner look. Now, it's cheating, I know. Photography is, as I've said a number of times, it is a way that I express myself as an artist. I give myself license to do things to make the image better, clean it up. Like, for example, I purposely took the windows, those 5 windows, there's one being blocked by the flag, but I took and I kept those all in one tone and lit them up a little bit. I took the brick around the engine door here and popped that a little bit. So I take freedom in enhancing the photo to fulfill my vision as an artist. As a result, I'm manipulating the image, and some people get really worked up about that. So, at any rate, that is the 2 images I want to show you. So let's go down here, and we're going to pick, I'm in Bridge, and you can do this in Lightroom. I'm in Bridge, and I'm going to pick my, so I bracketed and shifted. So as I say in the video, I went 1 stop each direction because it's an overcast day. So let me show you how I do that. It's very simple. I do this in my sleep. I do it so many times. So I click on the first one to the end one. Whoops, let's go. I hit the caps by accident. So I'm selecting all the images that I want to stitch. They don't have to necessarily be in the order, but I've got them in the order that I shot them. Start on the bottom, shift it up the middle, and then all the way to the top. Command R will take me to the raw converter. So Command R is a shortcut. Command A selects all, and then I'm going to right click. So the, hold on a second, the Control, or if you just hover over, you see the 3 little dots there at the top, you just click that, same thing. Now, instead of creating an HDR or a panorama, I'm going to do both at the same time. Now, for a long time, many years, I had to do them separate. There's still some advantages in doing them separate. One is that if you have, let's say, a moving birds or a ship in the distance or someone walking, you can take the ghost out during, say, a HDR, standard HDR, merged HDR. When you do both, it doesn't give you that option. So on occasion I go, oh, I've got something moving in the background. I want, what HDR will do, it will pick, let's say, one of those. Instead of, let's say you get a person walking, click, 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 there's three bodies walking across your background. If you do a takeout movement, it will pick one of them. And so that's really about the only case now, if I'm doing both HDR and a panel or a stitching scenario, I'll do them separate. If you do the HDR in 32-bit, which you talked about, I guess you would have to do it separate. No, I'm trying to think. Yeah, you'd have to do it separate. So this is a little faster way of doing it. Now, often if I do a stitched image and I go, what does that look like stitched? I don't even know. I'll even just stitch the JPEGs because I keep a JPEG capture and a RAW capture in my camera. So I have a JPEG folder and a RAW folder. So I will just say, what does it look like? And I'll stitch it together and go, not worth going to all the trouble to do. So sometimes I speed it up, and this is one way to do it very quickly. But all right, so we're gonna say merge to HDR and panorama. And it says, oh, guess what? I don't have, Adobe says this, my camera Bridge, RAW, says, I don't have your lens profile. Don't worry about it. Just say, okay. So it's going to go now and do this magic. It's doing both HDR and stitching together. It's an incredible thing. You know, personally, I just love doing this. Fits my personality. I love the stitching. I love the little bit extra work that it takes to make the magic happen. So these are big files, 48 megapixel captures, 45, whatever it is, and it takes a second. All right, so here we have. And my camera was a little off, which, you know, I can fix. But you can see the building on the camera right, it's left. I didn't really like that much. So that's when I took and cloned and cleaned it all up. But if you look over here, it says, you know, it bracketed the merged and HDR together. all 9 images were successful. It gives you spherical, cylindrical, and perspective. Now, for the most part, I almost always keep it on perspective, but sometimes, not necessarily with a tilt shift lens, sometimes it'll go and it'll do some really weird stuff. And so I go, okay, what else? And I do cylindrical or spherical, and it works better. So you might check those 3 options. If you do the boundary warp, what it does is it takes, because, and this is not a pano nodal point scenario, but you'll have some gaps around things. So then I just do the warp, or I say fill the edges. So if there's sky and stuff or water, I'll do fill the edges, but I almost always warp it to clean it all up there. I do not apply auto settings. I don't want to touch that. And auto crop, if it's got like major gaps, auto crop will clean it up. It picks it on its own though. Sometimes it doesn't do a very good job. So I say merge, and I go, where am I going to go? All right, so let's just go back over to Fire Station, and we're just going to say, okay, it's a DNG right now. So now it's, if you look down at the very bottom, there's a blue, whoop, it just disappeared. But it means it's processing. So you want to, if you see that blue, you don't go open. Well, because I haven't done any of the adjusting yet, but it used to crash every time you do that. Maybe that was 3 versions ago, or but I just wait till the blue's gone, and then I'll make my adjustments. So from here, I will do my highlights in, shadows and all that, which we've done many times here. And again, my goal isn't to go and do a retouch on this. This took a little bit while. I'm going to cancel that out. It says, do you want to cancel? Yes. Let's get out of here. All right, so let's go over to the New York skyscraper, and this is a pano, and I do a lot of panos. And in this case, it's only 2 positions. So when I did the vertical, I went bottom, middle, up. And in this case, I'm shifting left, shifting right. So that still has an overlap. And so I'm only doing 2 sets. So instead of 9 images, I have 6 images. So I picked the first one, and then hit my shift and hit the last one. That's the final there. Command R, Command A, right click, merge to HDR and pano at the same time. No, it does not have my profile. Now it's doing its merge, and all the magic is going to happen here and give me a really cool panel. Now, I like the panoramas. Now, they're not very good for social media necessarily. So if you're doing Instagram or Facebook and you have this beautiful panorama, people go, oh, I'll have to shrink it down. Sometimes I'll put it in a square gray box, and then it looks a little more artistic, and Instagram doesn't want to, or wants to crop it and all that stuff. But if you're doing your website, panos are incredible to showcase. Or if you do a print on the wall. I love big panos. So this gives me the ability to do that. So I'm shooting a 24, well, in this case, it might be a 17 millimeter. But whatever it is, so 24 shifted gives me about a 16, 17 millimeter angle of view. If I'm shooting my 17 tilt shift, that'll be about a 10 to 11 millimeter angle of view. So it really gets you some beautiful wide panoramas. So once again, because it's a tilt shift lens, pretty darn clean, boundary warp over, check it, let's see, everything else looks pretty good, hit merge. We're gonna drop it into the New York here and say save. And then of course, there's the blue, it says remaining, one remaining, it did its magic. So you saw I converted this to black and white. We're going to do some more tutorials on the processing of images in the upcoming tutorials here. But I wanted to show you the panorama and the stitching, the way I do that. It is so much fun. And let's see, what I'll do is I'll go through my footage and I'll see if I've done, I'll also try to get a nodal point one for you, which is a little bit more difficult. We'll see if we can find one there with some behind the scenes. I can go and put that together and show you how I do that. So let's continue on.